And good morning, everybody. Silas back today on this beautiful morning. We've got a lot of stuff going on, so you're just gonna ride along with me. I've actually already been here for about 2 hours. I'll show you a little bit of what it came in. I just unloaded this big behemoth. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It has flammable stickers on it, so I'm guessing they hauled maybe propane tanks in it or something. I really don't know what they hauled in this thing, but I'm gonna have to rip this apart with the excavator. Probably won't get around to that today. It's gonna have to go in the aluminum box, and it's already almost full, so I don't want to start on this until I have an empty box. If I sell it whole like this, it won't bring nearly as much money as if I rip it apart. But I just wanted to show it to you real quick. What I want to do now is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start crushing here in just a minute, but I got to look these cars over and make sure they're ready to go. They've been available for parts for a long time and nobody's really wanted anything. They're pretty well stripped out. I really honestly don't think there's anything good left on them, except for I am going to save this trunk rack here. I'm probably just going to go ahead and pop the whole trunk lid off just for the sake of time. These vintage trunk racks like this, a lot of people like these to put on other cars, but other than that, I mean, they're rusted out to nothing. I don't think there's anything good left on them. Yeah, we're not going to mess with these. We'll just go ahead and crush those. This Ford Escape right here runs and drives, and I had a guy wanting the engine out of it. It's actually not that high of miles, and it's really not in too bad a condition, other than it's kind of tore up on the other side from a minor wreck. But it's been here for about a month now, and nobody showed up to get anything, so we're going to go ahead and junk it out today. Last week when I was out here, I ripped the engines out of I don't know how many cars, a bunch of them out back, and made a gigantic mess of plastic and chunks of aluminum and that sort of stuff. So I think my help is going to be here tomorrow. Pop the hood on this Mazda. But I think my help's going to be here tomorrow, so they'll get busy on cleaning all that up and processing a bunch of other stuff, cleaning the ground up. So today, I'm not going to worry about that. Oh, battery's already gone. There we go. Don't have to worry about that one. So I just got to pull the wheels and converters off of this. And I guess we'll go ahead and start crushing this stuff, and then tomorrow we'll get all those cars out back, gathered up. I do have a pile of cars over yonder. I'll probably work on cleaning those out a little bit today. Maybe I'll dig out one of the school buses and we'll rip that apart. I really don't know, so I guess we're just going to ride along. But we're going to fire the machine up and get busy. That's enough crushing for now. I'm gonna come over here and dig some more out of the pile. Got this old wagon here. I think I have a buddy of mine wanting this for a derby car, if it's as solid underneath as it looks on this side. Then next up we got a square body, it looks like. I'll have to see what transmission is in this. If it's got a decent transmission, I'll go ahead and pop the cab off and save that. Looks like it's probably a 305 under the hood, just a 2-barrel. That's a GMC. I don't know if that grill's worth anything or not. I'll have to look that up and see. Doesn't look broken. And then we've got a Pontiac. What is this? Or no, that's a Sunbird. That's a Pontiac 2000 Sunbird. Don't see those too often anymore. Then beyond that, we've got a Volvo down on the bottom. Just junk. And then we've got a Mercedes on top of that. And then we've got another Mercedes and another Mercedes. And then beyond that, we've got another Mercedes and a BMW. You guys know how I feel about Mercedes, so more than likely all of these are just going to get crushed. But as I drag them out, we'll see if there's anything good on them, see if there's anything worth the effort and time to pull. And then over here we got an old Escort, an Escort L. You don't see these early ones super often. Once again, these are all vehicles that have been in this pile for many years, right here in this exact spot. I think these got stacked here, man, it would have been it was before I got married, and I've been married for almost 12 years now, so these have been here for about 13 years now. Or maybe it was right after I got married that these were put in here. So somewhere between 10 and 13 years is how long these vehicles have been sitting here in this exact spot. But we're gonna start the process of digging them out. Like I say, this in here, I'll see if my buddy wants it. If he wants it, we won't crush it. What's back here? Oh, I forgot about this old Saab. This Saab back here actually ran when we got it. Now, once again, it's been sitting for a decade or more. And get back here. Yeah, this car here, a guy had it, and he had it on Craigslist because Marketplace wasn't a thing back then. And as you can see, it's been rolled over at some point in time. And he had it on there for $300. Nobody wanted to buy it, so he went ahead and stuffed it full of junk and brought it out for scrap. I don't know if that motor is going to be any good or not. Looks like the hood's kind of offset on it. But we'll save it regardless. If nothing else, this would be a really cool one to slice the side of it off. I don't know if we'll get the whole row cleaned out or if we won't. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But at least we'll get started on it and go from there. I wasn't able to film loading either one of these. You know, sometimes people don't want you filming on their property. But both of these just came in. I was gonna just take this one out and crush it, but then I noticed it's got a 5-speed in it, so I don't know if those things are worth anything or good or not. I do know this transmission is good. They were driving this car not long ago, and this old GMC, I don't know what year this is, 55, 6, 7, somewhere in there, single headlight. It's a 350. This thing is super rusty. I mean, it's a rot box. Rot box deluxe, as you can see right there. I gotta go pick up another car. That's why I'm trying to hurry. They're waiting on me already, but as you can see, it's a piece of junk. But it's got some good dash parts in it, and then the engine still turns. I think it's a 270 that's under the hood, so some good parts there that I can cut the nose off for a wall hanger. I don't know if I'll save the back of the cab on this one or not, but then also it's got a couple one-piece wheels on it that are tubeless, so some good stuff there. But I better hit the road. This isn't the car I had to go get. The car I had to go get, they had a motorcycle too, so I ended up buying both of those from them. But I was looking at this one here. This guy just happened to call and have this, and it's got a transmission in there I can sell for a core. Other than that, I don't see much on here that's any good, so just junk. I think this is car number 8 for the day that I've bought. So no wait, this is car number 7. I'm on my way now to go buy car number 8. There's number 9 for the day. That was an unexpected one. Guy called and said he needed it gone immediately. The city was on him, so had to have it gone today. So we got it out of there. Just got to grab one more chain real quick, lift it off. Unfortunately, the converter's already gone on this one, which is typical on these Odyssey vans. Hell, here a number of years ago, what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that, some of these converters on some of these Hondas like this were worth $500, $600, $700, $800. There was literally guys driving around going door to door anywhere where they saw one of these or certain other vehicles like Toyota Priuses and vehicles that had high dollar converters on them, and they were knocking on the door saying, hey, I'll give you $500 for the converter off your car sitting out there. And then it's sad to say that if you told them no, a lot of them would just come back that night and take it anyway. So for something like this, it's obviously been sitting for quite a while. It doesn't surprise me that the converter's gone, so didn't pay full price for this one. Oh, and to put things into perspective, the converters on these now are less than half that. Converters have dropped to about 25% of what they were at one time, which doesn't hurt my feelings at all. It has definitely decreased the amount of theft going on those things. It's made my life a whole lot easier. Back in the high dollar days, I had to deal with the police calling every single day almost, wanting to know if I bought such and such a converter. And you have to turn everything into the state anyway, and so they know what I bought, but they'd call me almost every day asking. Whereas now, I think I've gotten one phone call in the last 2 months. But anyway, I'm gonna get that off of there, and I guess I'm gonna have to lock this all up, and then I gotta go get one more car out at the other yard, meet a guy to sell him a steering column, and then we'll come back here in the morning and try to get some crushing done. I was not expecting to buy 10 cars today. I just pulled this 350. I think it's a 350 anyway. I guess I'll have to check it out of that race, or not race car, but that demolition derby car. I don't know if it's any good. Looks like it's gotten water in it, so it might just be scrap, but I'm going to see if it still turns. And then after that, I'm going to come over here and grab this transmission out of here. I don't see any broken spots on it. I'm guessing it's just shelled out inside, which isn't a big deal. They'll still buy them for a core as long as the case isn't broken. All right, watch that. See if it turns. Yep, it turns. Still has compression. I can hear it pumping in there. All right, it's an 010 block. Then I scraped off the suffix code. It's a CHU, so that makes it a 1978 Camaro engine off of an automatic car. I was gonna go ahead and just throw it back in the car once I got the transmission out, but I mean, it still turns. It's a 350, so I guess we'll go ahead and try to sell it to somebody. I don't know. These things used to sell for $100 for cores all day long, but I haven't sold one now in probably 4 years, 3 years, something like that. No, it's been since before the shutdown, so about 5 years. There we go, another turbo 400. Check this bad boy out. Just came in for scrap. Came in at the other yard, but I brought it over here. Still got fancy interior in it even. They say he was still driving this car up until he passed away a couple years ago. There's a little bit of rust around here inside underneath the vinyl top. It's not horrible. I mean, it could probably be patched if a guy got on it sooner rather than later. But the rest of this car, rock solid. The floors are good, the frame's good. It does have some damage up here in this fender. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the window up. That way it doesn't get rained in. I'm shocked this interior is as nice as it is for a 1977 model. She's got a 350 under the hood. Still got the battery in it, 10 of 22. So yeah, that was less than 2 years ago. So this thing hasn't been off the road for too long. I bet it would fire right back up with a fresh battery. Unfortunately, they could not find the title for this thing. I mean, I know it's all okay and everything. I know the whole situation, but they have no clue where he put the paperwork for this thing. It's even got the 15-inch wheels on it. All the center caps, beauty rings, whole 9 yards are there. Yeah, you can see this side's a little bit rustier than the other side. Kind of rotted out around the windows. So that's unfortunate. That's the worst spot of this car, is right here on both sides. Like I say, if you really like this car, if you really like these cars in general, this would be the one to fix anyway, because all that could be patched. But we'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario, there's a lot of good parts on here, so time will tell. But anyway, it has been a crazy day. I got some terrible news. Probably some of the worst news I've gotten in a long time. The good news is we got 3 loads of cars shipped out. I think they average 19 or 20 tons a piece, which is about maximum. That's actually a little bit overloaded. Then we also got that load of aluminum wheels and some other aluminum breakage shipped out. So made some pretty good room out there, made some pretty good progress as far as that goes. However, while we were loading the second load of cars, some guy came flying in some $100,000 truck. He flew right up to the semi, jumped out, and was waving his hands all around, acting like a madman, and started taking pictures. And then he jumped back in his truck and took off. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, man, that guy was kind of weird. Well, then during the lunch hour, I had to come out here because Terry was actually here. And of course, I left my camera out there. I couldn't film this part, but he bought a 57 Chevy cabin clip from me. Plus, he bought an engine and a few other things. And then another guy was buying an 83 Thunderbird, which once again, I didn't get to film any of that. But anyway, while I was here, my buddy Skyler was out there waiting on me. And he said 2 guys pulled up and they stood there and stared at him for a while. And so he walked over there and asked them what they needed. And they told him that they were representatives of the railroad, and that some railroad police officer had turned us in, said we were driving on the tracks and blocking trains and all sorts of crazy stuff that wasn't true. I didn't understand exactly what was going on, and he didn't either. And so what he said he did is he gave the guy my phone number, and the guy was supposed to call me, which he never did. However, the gist of what I got is that they don't want us loading trucks out there anymore. The issue is that is the only place we can load trucks. That's the entrance where we circle in there. And you say, well, it's their property, they can do what they want. Yes and no. My dad has owned that property for 25 years now, give or take, maybe a little bit longer than that even. And the gate and the first probably 1/4 or maybe even 1/3 of the road belongs to us. And then another section of the road belongs to another company. And then the last section of the road where we load the trucks belongs to the railroad. And the agreement has always been that we will share each other's 1/3 of the road, in agreement that we can share other parts of the road as well. So like we let the railroad come in through our gate and drive on our road to get out back to be able to do the switches and check the trains and things like that. And in exchange, they let us load trucks out there. That's been the agreement for years. And actually the guy that owned the property before us, he had the same agreement with them that he could use that back there as long as he let them use the stuff up front. But anyway, I guess they got a new hotshot in there, thinks he's hot stuff, and he wants to shake things up and make it seem like he earns his paycheck. Typical hotshot railroad employee, sometimes the power goes to their head, and the railroad has more power than just about anybody else in the country. I think they're second only to gravity. And so pretty much whatever the railroad says, they get. So I guess this guy thinks he's all that, and he's gonna put an end to us being out there. So now I have to figure out what we're gonna do, and I spent the afternoon looking at it, and I think I have a plan figured out. I'm hoping we can reach a resolution. I'm hoping that they'll actually call me, the big boss will, and we can actually negotiate and talk about this and try to keep a level head and use reason. However, this afternoon I looked around and I found a way that we can use that first section of the road that we own and kind of branch off of that, and we own some more property there along beside theirs. And so we can build a new road that comes in and kind of circles around our yard, and that way we won't have to use theirs anymore. However, the thing is if I do that, they might not be able to use our gate anymore. I don't want to be like that. Well, actually I do want to be like that. Sometimes I'm kind of petty, but the business side of me doesn't want to be like that. So I'm hoping we can reach a resolution and I don't have to spend a week and a whole bunch of time and effort doing that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do 90% of the work, and that way, just in case things completely explode and fall apart, we'll be pretty much done and set up and ready just to go ahead and put in a new gate and just do it all real quick, and I can have it done with another day or two worth of work. I went ahead and loaded the third truck out there, plus the roll-off of the wheels and all that. They never called me and they never told me that I can't use it out there. They told my helper a bunch of stuff that he didn't understand, and exactly, they didn't explain it well to him. So as far as I'm concerned, at this point in time, we're just going to continue doing business as usual. I have used that property for my entire life. Ever since I was running equipment, I have loaded trucks out there, and I have never once gone on those tracks. I have never once gotten close to those tracks. It's never been an issue, ever. I'd hate to see it become an issue, but you know what? If it does become an issue, we'll do what we got to do. So I guess next week, that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to go out there and we're going to have to move about 15 or 20 cars, a bunch of pipes, some rock, a bunch of trees. I don't know, but I guess that's what this video is going to become. And good morning, Silas back out here at this yard again. I've had a few days to think about it now, and so like I was talking about, I guess it was just a second ago for you guys, I've got to get this place cleaned up. That way we can make a new road right through here. There's really not that many cars in the way, and I don't think it'll take that long. It's kind of unfortunate. A lot of these are old cars and I don't really have anywhere to put them, so there might be a little bit of crushing going on for the old stuff. But basically, I think there's about 8 cars in the row right up here up front that I got to move. There's a handful of cars around the corner, and then there's going to be a few other cars that I got to move as well. So I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal to get it all moved. There's a lot of other cars in this little area as well, but they're not in the way, so they're not a critical priority. Yeah, I think ones like this Ranchero, I'll probably just go ahead and maybe pull the last few parts off of it and crush it. And then this Thunderbird, same thing. I really don't see a reason to hang on to it. There is a little bit of little stuff down in here I got to get out. Unfortunately, I no longer have help. That's unfortunate, but life goes on. This piece of pipe down here, it might be radioactive. I can't remember. There's a reason why I put it back here. I know somewhere back here I put some radioactive pipe, so I'll have to make sure I don't slip that in. There's a handful of old cars back here, like this old Mustang. Like I say though, it's not really in the way, so I'll probably just let it sit for now. Basically what I want to be able to do is bring the semis in right here, and they kind of circle through where this line of cars is. They can pull in the yard, I can load them in the yard, and then I want to make a way out here where they can circle back through and drive right back out. That way there's no turning around involved. I've got a couple cars here I'll have to get moved. And then over yonder, I think there's a handful of cars, but I'm pretty sure they're all just crushers. And then out here, as you can see, there's quite a few trees I'm gonna have to get out, but I think I can make my road right through here and kind of circle it up to the main road. And that way they can just circle in off of our road, come right through here. And then going out, they go right back out through here and go back out on the road. I just gotta make sure I make it a big enough of a turn to where they can make it with a semi. I can't just make it a right angle, you know? And then once again, where these cars are, I've got a bunch more trees in here I'll have to take out as well, but I kind of want to put the road right through here, and so you can kind of see that red car on top probably isn't in the way, but there's a car beside it, there's 2 cars stacked up beside that, and then there's a white van there. I'll probably have to move those, as well as the car I'm standing on and this little Horizon or whatever this is, and then I should be able to make my road go right back through here. And you know, honestly, I'll probably go ahead and get rid of all these right here anyway. I think the only old one is this old late 50s Ford truck right here, and so obviously I'll save it, but I can pick it up and turn it sideways or something like that. There used to be an old El Camino in here, like a 69 El Camino, and I thought it was still back here, but I must have dug it out and crushed it years ago. I have not been back here in this area in a long time, as you can see by these trees. And then on the other side of that white van, there's a small pile of pipe and little stuff that we didn't quite get picked up, which is unfortunate that I didn't get that done while I had help, but life goes on. And so that's what's up. In addition to all that I have to get done, I have a boatload of cars I have to haul today, assuming everybody that called over the weekend calls back. I haven't worked out at the yard on the weekend and since I was a teenager. I mean, you're talking almost 20 years, and people still call thinking that they'll be able to somehow convince me to go out and work on the weekend. I'm like, look, I've Saturdays I work for myself doing other stuff, and I've got to have at least 1 day off a week. It's amazing how many people think that I'm a machine. I mean, sometimes I feel like a machine, but I am not a machine. But I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. Oh, these trees are annoying. What I'm probably gonna do on those is I'll try to get them with the loader, with the bucket, try to just scrape them out. If that doesn't work, I'll probably have to bring the brush hog on the skid steer out here and do it that way. Oh, that's one other thing, is a lot of this is already rocked. It's rocked really good through here, but this area right here, there is no rock in this. So we'll have to buy quite a bit of rock. I mean, we're looking at probably spending, I'm guessing, you know, 2 or 3 days worth of work, and then probably about $3,000 worth of rock and dirt I'll have to bring in here to do this. So it's going to be kind of expensive, which is kind of annoying, especially when I have a perfectly good area to load trucks that I've been loading them for the last, you know, 20-25 years. But oh well. I will say there was a time, for a short amount of time, where we drove the trucks all the way in and we loaded them out back, and that worked okay. And I would do that again. The only issue is that in order to get them out back, I'd have to bring them in through that way. And so that's why I just want to do this. That way it's no longer an issue. I don't have to fight with anybody. I can just bring them in right here, go through here, circle them around, load them over there, and they can circle right back out. I'll have to figure out something for parking. I'll probably, like maybe over here by that Mustang, make that area a little parking area. That way I can drive the truck in and park it. Or I can make a little area out there. So I don't know, we'll figure that out later. Right now the main thing is I've got to get the road open, because I really wanted to ship some more cars. And I'm a little bit nervous to go ahead and order trucks. I may go ahead and order trucks. I mean, they haven't told me I can't use it yet. I can see the writing on the wall. And that would be really bad to have a truck sitting here and then all of a sudden they come out and start screaming, and then I have to send the truck back empty or something like that. That would be a really bad look on us with the company we sell to, which they'd probably understand, but I want to avoid that if possible. I got the crusher warming up. I figured I'd show you this pile real quick. As you can see, it's a mix of small stuff and big stuff, in between stuff. A lot of this I can just pack in cars, bring a car over here, but what I want to try to do first is get all this pipe out of here. I've got a van now. I'm going to put it in the crusher, crush it. There's a little bit of stuff up by the crusher I'm going to crush. Then I'm going to come back here and start grabbing this pipe, and I'll probably grab 1 or 2 sticks at a time. If I try to grab more than that, it's probably going to get complicated. There's these 2 pieces here, may or may not fit. They might be a little bit too long, so I can probably fold those in half or something like that and make them fit. Fun. This would be nice to have somebody else doing this. I wish we would have got to this in time last week, but it just didn't happen. There was just too much going on. Oh well. It's not what I really wanted to do today, but it's what I got given. You know, sometimes that's just part of life. You got to roll with the punches, and this is what life hands you, and so at least it's not muddy. Could be worse. You know what's crazy is we used to buy dumpster loads and pick up loads of junk all the time like this, and we dump it out on the ground, and that's what I did full time, was just sit out here and pick stuff up, chuck it in there like that, stuff it in cars, chuck it in truck beds, whatever it took. Oh, speaking of which, the reason why I'm throwing this in a truck bed is just because it's a little bit easier when it's small stuff like this, just to be able to get on my knees and toss as compared to throwing it in a car. And then also I can just dump this at the back of a semi-trailer when I'm loading them sometime. But yeah, I don't miss those days at all of having to pick this stuff up by hand, load after load after load. In the springtime, oh man, we would get sometimes 4 or 5 dumpster loads a day of stuff like this. And sometimes it would be muddy out, and I'd be out there and, you know, 6 inches of water and 6 inches of mud, so a foot deep. And there'd be stuff like this that would get your tires, and I'd have to sit out there barehanded and dig through the mud down in the slop up to my wrist, and be able to dig around in it and find all those nails and bolts and everything else. Oh man, I hated those days. We just don't even really buy this stuff anymore, other than from a few select people, and we send them directly into the shredder under our name. It's just not worth the effort anymore, that's for sure. Because on loads like this, I mean, we'd buy them for, in those days, it was like 200 a ton, and we were getting like 240 a ton. So 40 bucks a ton. If there's 4 ton in a dumpster, we make 160 bucks. But sometimes it would take me half a day of digging in the mud to make 160 bucks. And it just was not worth it at all when there's so many other things to do. This is going to be a fun one. It's at a weird angle here in the alley. I can't get straight on it, but they want to keep their wheels and tires too. And I don't like doing that, but I guess I will. They've sold us a lot of cars, so people that are regular customers, I'll do a little bit extra for them. Now that was a nightmare. Kept snagging. I finally put that block under it. Of course, I took my snatch block off and forgot to put it back on. But then on top of that, the wheels were rusted on there super bad, and then it fell sideways and got in a bind. Absolutely nothing wanted to cooperate, and that's why I don't normally pull the wheels off for people. But like I say, they have sold us a lot of cars, so I put the extra effort in on this one. The only crazy part is the tires are like 10 years old and they're super rotted, so not 100% sure why they wanted them, but it's done now, so back to the yard we go. This is vehicle number 5 for the day. This Dakota, when I first started, I needed to turn the wheels, and there's no keys, but the ignition turned without keys, so it wasn't a big deal, but then the wheels wouldn't stay turned. So I went ahead and turned the ignition back off, that way the wheels would lock in place, and then when I needed to straighten them out, the ignition wouldn't turn anymore, so I couldn't get it to turn back. So the wheels were locked at an angle like this. Fortunately, I did have a snatch block for this one, so I was able to go ahead and drag it up on there. This is number 7 for the day. I have 2 more that I have to go get yet before I can close this yard down and go to the other one. And this Explorer actually came from the people that sold me the Explorer I had to pull the wheels off of earlier, and then they ended up selling us another vehicle as well, but they got to get it cleaned out, so I'm not going to pick it up till later this week or next week. I'm going to go ahead and grab this old half-ton Chevy out of here and take it with me out to the other yard. That guy's here to pick up that Diamond T early. I didn't expect to see him till about 5 or 6 o'clock, and he's already there. I still got to dig that truck out. But anyway, I have a bed that will fit on this truck, I think. And if I put a bed on here, I think I can get a little bit of money out of this one, because it's pretty well complete other than that. It's a little bit beat up and it's got a little bit of rust in it, but you can buy all the patch panels for these. So I think there's a lot of good potential in this truck being a half-ton. If it sits out here, I'm just going to have to move it 15 times. It's going to wind up getting tore up. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it with me now. We didn't make a ton of progress on this today. I think we got 3 cars moved out of here, plus I got all that pipe over there picked up and a bunch of the little junk. So I mean, we got a decent amount done, but Mondays are always crazy days for buying cars, just because all the people over the weekend that decided to get rid of their car, they want them gone. But we got 9 cars bought today, not counting the one that I haven't picked up yet, so not bad. I did have one more person that called that was supposed to call me back today with a vehicle that never did, so I guess everybody else called back though. There's quite a bit of stuff on this old Bel Air still. I was hoping it had a tilt column or AC or something cool on it, but I don't really see any really cool accessories on this one. But it's still got a lot of good parts. I guess this spotlight's kind of cool. It's got a unique design to it. Don't know that it's worth anything, but it is unique. Is this a V8 car? It's got the V on it, so I think that makes this a V8 car. Is this an automatic or a 3? It's an automatic, so yeah, I guess it is a V8 automatic, probably a Power Glide, I'm guessing. Is that what they put in these? I don't know. I'm good at cutting stuff up. I'm not too good at figuring out what's what on them. So I'll definitely hang on to that one. And then I got this old Chevy truck beside it. I'm not sure what year this is, 64, 5, or 6. I can see that much. It's probably a, what is this, a 230 or a 250? So probably not a real whoopee engine, but this would be a good truck to cut the nose off of. Looks like the doors are pretty beat up, so nothing there. The next up is an old Packard. Looks like it's got a grill in it still, but the rest of the nose is gone. The trunk's already been cut off. It was cut off when we got it, so I don't know that there's a whole lot of value on this one. The dash in these are really cool, but the dash is already gone, so this one here may get the squeeze. But we will work on this some more tomorrow. Right now I got to get out there, get that Diamond T dug out, get the tires aired up, get it loaded. Then there's a 37 International, I think, out back. I got to get it dug out. That way a guy's coming to get it. There's a guy coming to get an engine, and a guy coming to get a Thunderbird seat, and there's a guy coming to get something. I forget what. But I scheduled a bunch of people to be there this afternoon, so let's go see how many of them show up. We got the Diamond T loaded up. When I first looked at it, I wasn't entirely sure how we were going to get it loaded. And so what we finally did is I pulled it out with a chain, and I let him back underneath it, and then I picked up the back end with a chain and shoved it on. And I've aired those front tires up on that thing multiple times. It's never been an issue. And as we were strapping it down, getting ready for him to leave, the front tire exploded, and I mean, it exploded violently. It was a big bang, one of the worst I've ever seen or heard. I'm glad we weren't standing next to it, because that would have been bad news. Somewhere in here, oh, I see him right there. I'm gonna grab these little glass red lights out of here. There we go. I had somebody message me about these, wanting a picture of them, so set those out real quick, take a picture of those. I think we are done for the day. Oh, they're not the same. This one's a Do-Re, and this one's a No Name, but I think they're the same size. Make sure they're the same. Yeah, they're the same size, so they'd work. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna head out. I'll see you guys at the other yard in the morning. We'll see how much we can get done. And good morning. We are out here. That Dart GT is a pretty cool car. It's even a 4-speed. I was gonna show it to you, but my phone rang and I was busy talking to them, and it was a long conversation. And then my other phone got a text saying the guy was on his way with a couple cars. So I had to get out here and get everything unblocked. So didn't have time to show it to you. I went ahead and brought this one out here. If I was intelligent, I probably would have just cut the nose off of it and crushed it, but I'm not intelligent, so I went ahead and saved the whole thing. I'm gonna see if there's a key in it. Nope, no keys, unfortunately. I did notice there's a underdash AC unit in the back of it. There's an AC unit. I don't know if that's for this car or not, but here's some motorcycle lights. Those might be something good. Let's see here. What do we got here? It's Mopar, I know that, but I'm not sure exactly what it's out of. There it is right there. 67 Plymouth Fury 3. And these are for a 75 Suzuki GT550. I'm sure they probably fit other models as well. And here's this Dart GT. This is actually my dad's car. He had this stored out there years ago before I was ever even born. So he's owned this car for probably 35 to 40 years now. He has a GT convertible at one of the other yards, and this was his parts car for it. And so this is a bucket seats, 4-speed car, whole 9 yards. And you know, for sitting back in the trees, it's really not in too bad a condition. It's not much worse than what it was when he put it there all those years ago. Front fender is still good. The roof still has a lot of good chrome on it. Lots of good chrome back here. The quarter panels were rusty when he put it there, he said. So it really hasn't changed much after all these years of sitting. It's got a good door on this side, so lots of good parts on it. I think it's got a decent, well, this bumper's kind of beat up, but it's got some good core support pieces and lots of good trim. One thing I never realized is that the GTs actually have a special GT piece up here as well. This is his car, it's not mine, so I'm not going to be selling it or anything off of it, but I didn't really have anywhere out at the other yard where I've been working at to put it, where I didn't have to worry about dropping a car on it or something like that. So I told him I would just bring it out here and keep it at my place. Ooh, no wonder it was so butt heavy. It looks like there's 2 engines in here. That's not the best way to pull a trunk lock, but I was trying to do it without tearing up the deck lid, because I think this is a decent, yeah, this is a pretty good deck lid. So I know I bent it up a tiny bit, but that's all repairable. Best way to do it is to drill this out or to come in through the trunk. But on a time crunch, this is the next best thing if you're real careful with it, if you know what you're doing. I have no clue what all's in here. 4-barrel, all sorts of good stuff in here, covered in a rat nest. I don't feel like digging in right now in the heat. And of course, it has been another wild day. I have gotten absolutely nothing done on cleaning out and making that new road like I want to. I got this Dodge truck. It was quite the challenge. No keys, the wheels don't turn. Luckily, I was able to get it in and out of neutral, so I was able to get it loaded up on the rollback. A pretty neat old Chevy car sitting beside it, but it was not for sale. Then after I dumped it off, I went and got this Durango. Durango was not that hard to get out. It was a little bit of a challenge having to go back and forth turning the wheels, but really wasn't that big of a deal. And then of course I got that Valiant. I think it was a Valiant Signet 200 is what it was called, something like that. It's got bucket seats and it's a manual car, but it's a 3 on 3. I've got a guy with an Explorer that he calls me and I'm not available to pick it up right that second. I'll say I can get it here in a little bit. He said, okay, just call me. And so I call him back and then he's busy. And so then I go get another car and he calls me back, and then, oh, well, then I'm picking up another car. And so he says, okay, well, call me back. And so I call him back and then he doesn't answer. And so we've been playing phone tag for a week now. But I do have one more vehicle. I've got to go back and get where that Valiant was. There's that little Bravada or whatever it was. Get that out of there. And we'll see if the guy on the Explorer calls me back. If he doesn't call me back, then I'll actually have a little bit of time out here. I might be able to put an hour of work in on cleaning up that pile. Just been buying so many cars. I bought, what, 9 Monday, I think it was. I can't remember now. And I think 5 or 6 yesterday. And then, 4 so far today. I'm going after 5 now. Some of those vehicles are ones that people hauled into me, but most of them are ones I've been having to go pick up. So it has been wild. Tomorrow I will be here all morning long though. I have a guy bringing in a whole bunch of stuff from a factory, and so I have to be here for that. And so while I'm waiting on him, I will hopefully be able to get quite a bit done on that pile over there. I was really hoping to have that done this week, but man, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, because I got to work out at my place here in 2 days. So if we don't get it done tomorrow, we'll just have to wait until Monday. Well, I ended up not getting anything else done out there. I'll have to try to do it tomorrow. Pick this thing up, and I was gonna just drop it out there and crush it, but I looked up these grills, and these Bravada grills are actually worth pretty good money. They take a little bit of effort to get off though, and I don't have time to mess with it, so I just brought it out here, dumped it at my place. That way I can pull it out later and then go ahead and crush it on a future day. It's got some dash parts in it as well, and then it looks like there's some stuff inside it. Maybe an old washboard. Can't really see what else might be in there. I sold a few items. I just got to figure out where I put them at. Thought I put them in here. Oh, there's one of them down here. Not this. This is the GMC 302 fan blade. But I sold the old Ford flathead fan blade. And I sold these controls out of an old Toyota. Grab that. And then I sold these 2 glass lenses right here. making some good progress in here. Got a bunch of trees taken out in this area, widen this up a little bit. You can see I'm already sinking and I just started using it, so that's why I'm gonna have to rock all this through here. But I'm gonna have to come back here. My next major objective is to get all of this junk picked up. I think I have a couple empty truck beds, and I think that'll be the easiest if I bring those back here, set them beside the pile, and just chuck all the junk in there. It's all pretty big stuff. It'd be kind of hard to fit it in cars. I could stack it on top of cars, I guess, but then I have to carry it all the way around to the crusher. It's pretty bumpy. There's bunches of junk over here grown up in the trees. It's been laying there for a million years, but I guess we will worry about that another day. Some of that stuff like that, if I wait till winter and all this stuff is down and all the grass is gone, the trees, the leaves are gone, it'd be a whole lot easier for me to do. Just set this truck out. I think it's what, a 58, 59, one of those. Look at the doors on this. It's got a map of Kansas, or it's not a map, a shape of Kansas here, and it has the location of their two places. Bertrand Elevators, McAllister and Monument. I've been through both of those. Both of those are off of, what is it, I-70 that's up there, something like that. Not too far off of there. Pretty rough truck. Just gonna cut it up for art. Probably 272 or a 292. It's a custom cab, that's why it's got the chrome grille in it. Doesn't have the chrome gauges or fancy steering wheel though. Yeah, this cab is super rusty, so we'll just pull some parts off of it. Definitely gonna save these doors. Maybe cut the back of the cab, the nose, all that good stuff. I thought I'd already have the road basically built and I'd be working on putting the rock in, but I've had to go work at the other yard, and I've been so busy hauling cars, since I'm the one that's hauling cars and processing cars and doing everything by myself right now. And I always worry about people breaking in and stealing converters, so I've got to bring the cars in and I got to pull the converters and the batteries right away. This week hasn't been so busy, but last week I ended up buying a grand total of, I forget now, it was 30 or 35 cars, somewhere in there in the low 30s, which for one man doing it all by himself, that's a lot of cars. And that was in addition to everything else I was doing last week. And then Friday I worked out at my yard all day long. So this job is just taking a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But I can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Tomorrow, once again, I'm going to spend all day working on this out here. Here's that Thunderbird, 69. It had pretty good rocker trim on it until one of my forks has a big bend at the end of the fork where the fork's peeled up like that. And this car has no rear end, and so I snagged the frame and it went boom and pulled sideways and smacked this, which is unfortunate, but oh well, it's not that valuable of a piece anyway. I definitely want to get that out. That's my favorite Thunderbird logo, is the 69s. My favorite Thunderbird is the 67s, but as far as emblems go, that's my favorite there. And I'll probably go ahead and cut the whole nose off of this car and make a wall hanger out of it, but I want to get that off of there before somebody messes with it and steals it. I've just always liked these four-door Thunderbirds, 67 to 71. Throw this chrome trim in there. Really rough car. I think, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. This has got a bench seat in it. Bench seats are not very common in these Thunderbirds. In 67, it wasn't even an option. You could not get a bench seat. You had to get buckets. But then I think in 68 or 9 they started making, I know for sure 69 obviously, and maybe 68 they offered bench seats. But even then they were still pretty rare. Most people opted for the buckets. That is a lot of wind turbines. As far as the eye can see off in the distance is wind turbine blades. You don't realize just how big those things are when they're out in the field, but when you're standing right next to them, you realize just how massive they are. I don't think I've ever seen that many on one train before. That's pretty crazy. That train is still going. Oh, right there's the last one. I was getting ready to say it's still going. Getting ready to crush this. Found a bag of cracklers inside it. We're only what, 2 or 3 or 4 months removed from the 4th of July? Close enough, right? Oh, it came open.
He jumped back.
These are pretty weak ones here. These aren't the good ones.
It broke when on impact. There we go.
Let's see what this one does. Woo.
We all get thirsty burns. Burns out, the time down.
There we go.
Don't hit the Camaro, don't hit the Camaro.
Too old. Oh, there it's kind of shooting some sparks up now. Nice cloud of smoke. That was kind of lame. These firecrackers are kind of old, so they ain't working very good. One more. We'll see if this one works.
Where at this guy?
Just about there. I've got this little bit of junk over here still that I'll have to get later, and then I've been plowing through here. Made it quite a ways. I got one car left in here. Now there is a sketchy load. That was not a fun one to haul. Fortunately, this was just right over yonder where we got those garbage trucks a while back. I completely forgot about getting this out of there. I was gonna hook a chain on it with the loader and drag it over here one day, and I just never got around to it. So I said I would get it first thing this morning, and I did not realize it was quite that long. I couldn't get it from the back. I had to get it from the front. It's got a big old long tongue on it. But it fit on there, and it wasn't very far to haul it. Well, I am slowly but surely getting this done. Headed to a new home. 1973 LTD. This was a good looking car. Spent its whole life parked inside. Not a speck of rust. It's a good looking one. Just needs a little bit of TLC. There it goes. Headed out. If you want to see any more details about this car, you can check them out on YouTube. Promo code POWERS Garage. I'll put the name on the screen so you can see it. I'm sure he's going to get the car running. He'll probably put all that on camera and everything, so you get to see this car coming back to life. Speaking of which, this video has been a long time in the filming. You guys know that I've been working on making that road up there, putting in a whole new setup. That way it's just not even an issue anymore. The issue is we just got a letter in the mail, and the letter says that we can't even use that road up there. So I've been putting all this work into building this new road, and they're telling us that we can't even use our own property now, which I think it's an issue of they don't realize that it's our property. I think they think that it's their property. And of course the letter they sent us doesn't have a phone number anywhere on it. You can't call them and talk to an actual person. So we have to mail them a letter, and then somebody at a desk somewhere has to take that letter and go put it on someone else's desk, and then that person's got to go put it on someone else's desk, and then that person doesn't have a clue what's going on in the world, and they're going to say, well, no, that's our property, and they're going to go back through the chain of command again, and it's just going to go back and forth, and it's going to be a nightmare. I wish they would just call. But the letter says that we're on their property, but as you guys know, we got all of the stuff moved that was out here, that was over here and everything, and nothing is on their property, and nothing has been on their property for well over a month now. That was probably a month and a half ago that we did that. I've been working on this video now for about 2 months. Even this dumpster, the corner of this dumpster, I made sure that it is off of their property. Like right now, technically half of the rollback is parked on their property, but half of it isn't. So anyway, we're hoping we can maybe get a hold of them and explain to them the whole situation. What it is that somebody was out here, and somebody that doesn't know nothing about nothing, probably a new employee, thought they were gonna get themselves a gold star, and so they've been causing all sorts of problems. But if we can actually talk to somebody and explain the long-term agreement that we've had, they may agree to go ahead and let us keep using this out here. They may also fight us in court forever, and they may shut it down to where we can't even use our own property. And so that's why I cut off building the new road for now until we figure out what's going on. I don't want to put a whole bunch of money into building this new road just to find out that we can't use it anyway. So for the time being, everything is on hold. Worst case scenario, we can build another road up here, another part of the yard. It's not nearly as good of a spot. It's going to take a lot more rock. It hasn't ever been rocked in that area, so it's just pure mud. And so it's going to take a boatload of rock. It's going to cost a lot more money, take a lot more work. But you know, as of right now, nobody has actually come out here and said, hey, you cannot use this property to load trucks. The letter we got in the mail says that we have stuff on their property, which we don't. And so nobody has actually told me or my dad, who is the owner of this property, that we can't do anything out here. I didn't film it, but actually the other day I loaded a bunch of trucks out of here again. Nobody said a word. It wasn't an issue with anybody. It's just absolutely ridiculous, some of the things you have to deal with in this business and just in life in general. Just people just have to have all the control. They have to be control freaks and get themselves a participation award. But I can't keep dragging this video out forever. I already have so much footage to put in this thing. It's going to be a crazy long video, a ton of work to edit. So I'm sure in a future video, stay tuned for that, I'll be able to explain exactly what's going on and what the final verdict was. If they say, hey, you can go ahead and use this, then I'll go ahead and get some rock and I'll fill these holes like this in. Even though it's not our property, I'll go ahead and put the money into repairing this road. But if they say, no, you can't use it, then we're going to build the road up there like I've been building. And if they say, no, you can't use your own property, then I don't know, we'll probably have to fight it out in court, and that'll probably take 6 months to a year, if not longer. And so who knows how long it's going to take before something actually happens. All because of one person causing problems. But anyway, I am going to head out. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there, find yourself an adventure. Just hopefully, once again, you don't have to find an adventure that has to do with the railroad. We'll see you on the next one.